Ever wondered what God and Moses talked about for 40 days and 40 nights at the top of the mountain? Well, we're talking about that in today's video. Hey guys, and welcome back to God's Word Made Simple by Simple Servant Ministries. My name is Aaron Hawk, and if this is your first time visiting with us, I just want to say welcome and thank you for joining us today. God's Word Made Simple is an online discipleship ministry dedicated to taking God's Word and making it simple. We want to help you understand God's Word, apply it to your life, and grow in your relationship with the Lord. And by the way, if you appreciate this ministry and content, at some point make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn that bell notification to all so you don't miss any future videos. We would love to have you as part of our family. Okay guys, welcome back. So in today's video, we're covering Exodus chapter 26, and this is a part of kind of like a mini-series from chapter 25 through the end of chapter 31, where it's just a little bit of an odd section in terms of teaching you as a modern listener or watching this video from a modern perspective, because these are things that we really can't connect with because they were specific to the ancient nation of Israel in their temple worship of God. So I hope this is informative. Let me know in the comments section. I didn't know whether to cover them in super detail, not cover them at all, and just skip to the end of chapter 31, or to do the middle ground, which is obviously what I decided to do. So if this isn't your cup of tea, so to speak, please just give me some grace, hang with us until we get through the end of chapter 31, and then we'll kind of return to a normal method of teaching. All right, so let's jump into verse 1. Moreover, you shall make the tabernacle. So now we're getting to the actual structure that is going to represent God's presence to the nation of Israel. Moreover, you shall make the tabernacle, and tabernacle is just a fancy word for a tent, but it's more than just like a camping tent. It's a kind of a permanent tent designed to move around with a nomadic lifestyle. So it's very specific instructions, very durable, a lot of stuff to move, but think about it kind of like a really fancy permanent tent. Moreover, you shall make the tabernacle with 10 curtains of fine twisted linen, and blue and purple and scarlet material. You shall make them with cherubim, the work of a skillful workman. So now God's being very clear that it's skilled people, not just throw this thing together. The length of each curtain shall be 28 cubits. Remember, I told you in last week's video. Check it out there if you didn't catch it. Ballpark 18 inches for a cubit. I'm not going to explain all of that again, but just ballpark 18 inches. And the width of each cubit the width of each curtain 4 cubits. All the curtains shall have the same measurement. 5 curtains shall be joined to one another, and the other 5 curtains shall be joined to one another. You shall make loops of blue on the edge of the outermost curtain in the first set, and likewise you shall make them on the edge of the curtain that is innermost or outermost in the second set. You shall make 50 loops. So again, God is being very specific. You shall make 50 loops in the one curtain, and you shall make 50 loops on the edge of the other curtain that is in the second set. The loops shall be opposite each other. You shall make 50 clasps of gold, so to put the curtains together, to hold them. You shall make 50 clasps of gold, and join the curtains to one another with the clasps, so that the tabernacle will be a unit. So that's what's going to actually kind of close the door, so to speak. Then you shall make the curtains of goat's hair for a tent over the tabernacle. You shall make 11 curtains in all. So we have an inner curtain, that's kind of the more plush, what you would think of as an interior. And now you have, I believe this is a middle layer, but it's been a while since I've covered this. There's going to be a few layers. So now we're having a layer for protection, warmth, etc. So then you shall make curtains of goat's hair for a tent over the tabernacle. You shall make 11 curtains in all. The length of each curtain shall be 30 cubits. So these would have gone lengthwise over it. The length of each curtain shall be 30 cubits, and the width of each curtain 4 cubits. The 11 curtains shall have the same measurement. You shall join 5 curtains by themselves, and the other 6 curtains by themselves, and you shall double over the 6th curtain at the front of the tent. So it's kind of like a flap. You shall make 50 loops on the edge of the curtain that is outermost in the first set, and 50 loops on the edge of the curtain that is outermost on the second set. You shall make 50 clasps of bronze. So this is the first time that we're seeing something not of gold. Notice it's working from the inside out. Kind of the way God does with us to this day. The holiest place, all pure gold, and a ton of it. As we work our way out, it gets less fancy, more practical, for lack of a better way to put it, because the stuff inside is pretty practical too. Anyway, you shall make 50 clasps of bronze, and you shall put the clasps into the loops and join the tent together so that it will be a unit. The overlapping part that is left over in the curtains of the tent, the half curtain that is left over, shall lap over the back of the tabernacle. The cubit on one side and the cubit on the other of what is left over in the length of the curtains of the tent, you shall lap over the sides of the tabernacle on one side and on the other to cover it. You shall make a covering for the tent of ram's skins, dyed red, and a covering of porpoise skins above. So again, multiple layers, and essentially he's weatherproofing the tabernacle. That's what all of these layers are designed to do. So it's kind of like, you know, comfortable stuff inside, and then again, more practical on the outside. And the last one would have been a very thick, water-resistant material. Then you shall make the boards for the tabernacle of acacia wood, standing upright. And this is what's going to help hold up the tent. 10 cubits shall be the length of each board, and 1.5 cubits the width of each board. There shall be 2 tenons for each board fitted to one another, that you shall do for all the boards of the tabernacle. So it's like a post and socket. That's essentially the design here when you hear that word tenon. You shall make the boards for the tabernacle, 20 boards for the south side. You shall make 40 sockets of silver under the 20 boards, so 2 sockets per board. Again, that's pretty solid engineering there, not surprised since this is God, but in other words, we recognize this as a good standard of care, if you will, in design. 2 sockets under one board for its 2 tenons, and 2 sockets under another board for its 2 tenons. And for the second side of the tabernacle on the north side, so it mattered which way it faces each time they would set up and break down, 20 boards. And they're 40 sockets of silver. So again, now that we're talking about outside stuff, it's less quality material, if you will, although frankly silver is still quite valuable in this quantity. And there are 40 sockets of silver, 2 sockets under one board and 2 sockets under another board. For the rear of the tabernacle to the west you shall make 6 boards. You shall make 2 boards for the corners of the tabernacle at the rear. They shall be double beneath, and together they shall be complete to its top to the first ring. Thus it shall be with both of them. They shall form the 2 corners. There shall be 8 boards with their sockets of silver, 16 sockets, 2 sockets under one board and 2 sockets under another board. Then you shall make bars of acacia wood, 5 for the boards of one side of the tabernacle, and 5 for the boards of the other side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards of the side of the tabernacle for the rear side to the west. The middle bar in the center of the boards shall pass through from end to end. So again, this is just solid construction to keep everything from bowing in and out. So essentially you'd have a board like going up and down, and then you have bars crossing it to brace it. That's what's going on here. You shall overlay the boards with gold, and make their rings of gold as holders for the bars, and shall overlay the bars with gold. Then you shall erect the tabernacle according to its plan, which you have been shown in the mountain. So again, we don't have all the information recorded here. So you might Google, and you can, but do it with a grain of salt or a pound of salt, because you can Google how this might have looked, and you'll get an idea. But there's a lot of information that the scriptures themselves tell us we don't have related to the construction of the tabernacle. Said it right there. All right, so verse 31, you shall make a veil of blue and purple and scarlet material and fine twisted linen. It shall be made with cherubim, the work of a skillful workman. So again, skilled workman involved here. God gets the best, and it's still not enough. But anyway. You shall hang it on 4 pillars of acacia overlaid with gold, their hooks also being of gold on 4 sockets of silver. You shall hang up the veil under the clasps, and shall bring in the ark of the testimony there within the veil. So in the New Testament, when it talks about the veil being torn, that was a permanent temple, but that's what it's talking about here. This separation, the Holy of Holies, is where the ark would be. And the priest only went in once a year, New Testament era, just to connect that. So when Jesus was crucified, it talks about the veil being torn. That's what it's talking about. Anyway, let me reread 33 because I probably distracted you. You shall hang up the veil under the clasps, and shall bring in the ark of the testimony there within the veil. And the veil shall serve for you as a partition between the holy place and the Holy of Holies. Okay? You shall put the mercy seat on the ark of the testimony in the Holy of Holies. You shall set the table, the table of offering, you shall set the table outside the veil, and the lampstand opposite the table on the side of the tabernacle toward the south, and you shall put the table on the north side. You shall make a screen for the doorway of the tent of blue and purple and scarlet material and fine twisted linen, the work of a weaver. So not just any material, fine, high quality stuff. You shall make 5 pillars of acacia for the screen and overlay them with gold, their hooks also being of gold, and you shall cast 5 sockets of bronze for them. So now you have within the tent a super holy place called the Holy of Holies, and then the holy place that the priest would go into, in this case Moses and eventually Aaron, because he's the one through whom the priesthood is originating in the law. We actually learn of Melchizedek and others previously, but anyway. So that's where the priest would go to specifically commune with God and to provide some of the offerings. Now, some of the stuff is also done outside the tent later on, but right now we're focusing on the tabernacle itself. So guys, again, let me know if this is helpful, not so much, whatever. Let me know in the comments your thoughts. And again, please just bear with us if this isn't your thing for the next couple of weeks. I really appreciate you, and yeah, we will see you next time. Thank you guys, and God bless.